It's me, Kelly Clarkson, the villain of Roly Poly Oly. Everyone,
Whoa.
taste my strawberry. Welcome everyone to RAFter Dog. This is our once a month non-video game related Patreon exclusive timed episode for August of 2025, the Kelly Clarkson month.
What?
This is
What are you doing?
I don't know. I'm the most tired I think I've ever been in my entire life, and the most exhausted. And I just drank 2 Mountain Dews during that episode of the podcast we recorded, and I am not a person who drinks caffeine pretty much at all anymore. And so I think my body has metabolized that caffeine into cocaine. And
Oh,
that's Spanish for nut butter.
nut butter.
Hey everyone, I'm Chad Michael Ennis, and I am talking to you right now through your ears. We've got our also guy who doesn't play video games, at least on this episode, Adam Gumbert. How you doing?
Hey, I'm just looking at this Kelly Clarkson rug. It's $128. Seems like a decent deal.
Oh, what is the like pat? Is it a cow skin? Is it
No, it's mostly white and very, very light mint green, so you can barely see the mint green. So it's basically a white rug for $130.
Kelly Clarkson. We also have here with us Alex Clarkson.
At this point, the patrons have probably waited like a month and a half to get this episode. This episode of RAFter Dark has been a long time coming.
It's
and I
only
think this
12
is going to
days
be
late
worth
right
it.
now. And as long as we edit it today and upload it today, it's still only 12 days late.
I think
you know what they say about that?
You're
It's
in for quite the
Christmas.
episode.
12 days of Christmas. And there's a lot of geese.
Anyways, Joel ain't here, by the way. Roly Poly Oly replaced him.
Well, Roly Poly only got canceled is the problem. And not like sex scandal canceled, but, kids TV canceled. And so Jolie Poly Oly is down there in the corner. He'll be back next time on Survivor. Jeff
Wait for it.
Welcome everyone. We're so glad you're here. Thanks for being a patron. If you're not a patron, you're listening to this late, well, you missed out. You missed out. This is not relevant to you anymore, but you should still continue listening to us probably talk more about Kelly Clarkson. But most importantly, as teased in our episode of Respawn Aim Fire that just went up, Alex Kozi Bear Kozina has a part 2 to his hot dog IKEA date, like list of non-negotiables from last episode. So Kozi,
Yes.
I'm dying to know. Tell us, what is this? What is the update here?
Man. Okay, so on the previous episode of RAFter Dark, we talked a little bit. And by the way, I do want to say, just to get real for a second, the original plan for this episode is it was going to be a reunion of the 4 hosts. We were going to talk a little bit about what Joel's been up to. I know that Joel has a lot of stories that he himself has been sitting on. This story that I'm about to tell should have just been like a quick sidebar on this episode. But because, Joel is currently busy doing other things right now, this is probably going to be the entire show. So strap the fuck in, and let me tell you a little bit about a Swedish bistro/furniture store called IKEA. On the last episode, we talked a little bit about our non-negotiables. Chad was like, what are some of your non-negotiables? And I was like, you know what? I don't know how we got to this, but eventually we talked a little bit about dating. And I was like, sometimes when I'm like not 100% feeling someone that I've been chatting with on a dating app, but I don't feel like entirely closing things out with them, I'll pose the question, do you want to just go on a date to IKEA? Just as a way of being like, all right, this is me giving myself an out. If the person says no, I'm like, all right, cool. Delete this, move on to someone else. If they say yes, it's like, okay, maybe this relationship can be saved. Maybe it can be salvaged at the last moment. Long story short, the person that I was talking to said yes. And I was like,
uh-oh, now you got to go to IKEA. You got to follow through.
And
even though the Costco hot dog is superior, you got to take them to the shittier hot dog restaurant.
Awful. I don't want to cut you off too much, Kozi, but
yes.
talking about this last time. Your entire thing was whenever the spark is gone and it seems like this is going nowhere at all, I just throw out this random idea of this kind of date just to see if there's anything. And if not, I move on. So the
Right.
fact that someone said yes, it means someone who you were basically done speaking to said yes, and now you have to go through with it.
And then, independently of me speaking to this one person that agreed to go on an IKEA date, I matched with someone else who, in their profile, is like, "What if we went on an IKEA date as our first date?"
No way.
And here's
Was
the
it your
thing.
alt account?
Unfortunately, I want to set people's
Just go.
expectations. I want to set people's expectations correctly. Ultimately, I only went on one IKEA date, but there was a brief period
God.
of time. There was a brief period of time where I was scheduled to go to 2 IKEA dates in the same weekend because of
I
how this
want to
worked out.
see the movie starring Alex Kozina where he has to go on 2 simultaneous IKEA hot dog dates with 2 different people and try to juggle it so that they don't know you're there with somebody else. And you're just going from table to table, putting on a mustache and pretending you're not there. Oh my God.
It wasn't.
I'm in. Let's go.
It wasn't going to be on the same day. It was going to be on like a Friday and a Saturday. But
What
I
a
was.
gentleman.
I was legitimately like wondering to myself, like, should I dress, like, how differently should I dress on the second day? Should I shave myself? Like, is anyone that works at the IKEA going to recognize me? Like, it's weird that you're here 2 days in a row with a different person. And I'm like, yeah, we're funny how life works like that. That ended up obviously not being something that happened because in the end, one of the 2 people ended up dropping out, ended up not happening. But the other
Can I
day,
ask a question?
yes.
Which one was it? The one who was the last Hail Mary, or was it the person who said they want to go IKEA before you even spoke to them?
Sadly, it was the person that said they wanted to go to IKEA before I even spoke to them.
What do you mean,
That's how you
sadly?
know that was an AI. Like that was a bot that like was specifically programmed to know exactly what you want and put it in the profile. And then as soon as you were supposed to meet in person, they're like, "Oh God, I don't exist," and they ghosted.
It might have been. They also, as part of this date, they also wanted to go and see the movie The Materialists, which have either of you seen The Materialists?
I've
have
seen the
not.
poster. That's it.
I know
That's
nothing
the Chris
about it.
Evans, Pedro Pascal rom-com with actually I don't even know if there's a com in there. I think it's just rom-dram maybe.
Rom-dram.
Rom-dram with Walter Butt from 50 Shades of Grey.
Anyways,
Who has never been in anything good. Like I was everything that she's ever in has
She was in
always
Madame
sucked.
Web. Oh, never mind.
Literally the worst movie I've ever seen.
Anyways, it didn't really, unfortunately, that particular one did not work out. But the other one did happen. So I went and I picked up, what do we want to call? We want to protect the identities of the
Do we have to?
innocent here.
Madam Web.
For the record, I don't even remember what their name was. So,
Oh, so it didn't even. Okay, well then this doesn't.
Yeah.
Nothing.
We'll call them Madam Web.
Madam Web.
Madame Web.
Perfect. Her web connects us all. Her web is the connective tissue that is what allows this story to exist. Picked up Madame Web from the metro, and immediately it was one of those things where they got in the car, she got in the car, and I was like, yeah, I get the sense that there's not really a spark here. This isn't like, it's not like an immediately kind of calamitous aura, but immediately it's like, I got the sense this isn't going to be a super fun date, but whatever, let's just go through with it. I wanted to just visit IKEA in general, just to check out a couple of things that they had. It's one of those dates where it's like, you can get a little bit of work done along the way. We went to IKEA and she actually herself also wanted to go to IKEA because she actually had to return a couple of things that she had previously purchased from it.
Date of convenience.
Yeah, very
right.
much. And so,
Please tell me it was like a whole Billy bookshelf. Like she dragged a Billy bookshelf onto the metro.
I don't remember. It was like a bunch of things that could fit in a big bag that she could hold by hand. So not infinitesimally small, but not huge either. We went to the customer returns counter, waited a little bit. I was talking to her about what I do, and I was like, one of the things that I do is I actually run social media for this podcast called This Thing Rules. Which, is a podcast hosted by Brown Altano and Max Scoville. They talk about all sorts of, things that rule. One of the things that they recently did is they did an episode all about IKEA, and I actually went up and researched a bunch of IKEA related factoids. And so I was like reading off to her some of the facts about IKEA to be like, yo, we're in IKEA. You wanna, if we're here, then we got to learn everything there is to learn about this fine establishment. And
I know this isn't how it worked, but I want it to be the case that like you went to the to the like desk like office part of IKEA with all the office furniture and you sat behind one of them and did a Jeopardy round with her. And it's like, all right, let's do IKEA trivia.
anyways, and she was like, "Oh, that's cool." Her overall kind of like muted vibe doesn't really change all that much. And so eventually we go upstairs. We decide to go to the restaurant upstairs. We order a couple of dishes for ourselves. We eat them. I'm continuing throughout this entire time to try to, you know, perk up the mood, the overall tone of things. It's not really working. And eventually I'm like, okay, well, we enjoyed, lunch while we were here. We had a great time. Do you want to, we could end things now. I get the sense that I wasn't like that explicit in the way I worded it, but basically I was like, I get the sense that the vibes aren't really here. If you want, we can just end things and we can head home, or we could walk through the entirety of the IKEA showroom and look at every single thing for an additional hour. And she was like,
And imagine our lives together and the home we might have in an alternate universe.
and she was like, what if we walk through the IKEA showroom for an additional hour, even though I myself am not at all invested in this date? And I was like, all right, fine, let's do that. And so we walked through the entire IKEA showroom for an additional hour. She bought like a pillowcase. No, it was like a folding, whatever, it doesn't matter. I bought a couple things myself. We exited the IKEA. We drove back to the metro, dropped her off. I went back home, and that was that.
I commend you. Um, I don't know if it's really commend is the right word, but to be in a date that you're like, oh, it's so bad. This is clearly nothing here. Do you want to spend another hour here? What? What?
I was very much on the side of like, I'm trying to be as gentlemanly as possible. I'm not trying to say this date is going poorly. I'm trying to be like, we could just wrap up things while we're ahead.
That's right. You offered and she said no. So I guess yeah, you did your due diligence. So I can't give
Yeah.
you too much shit there.
So yeah,
It's one of those situations where like you both are like you say goodbye, but you both have to walk the same direction for a little bit, and you're like,
Yeah.
we both know we have to buy some things while we're here. Like, do we want to do this together, or does one of us want to leave?
So yeah, it wasn't a calamitous date, but it wasn't necessarily a great date. And now, as I would kind of reflect back on it, what I wonder is if, in fact, the only reason why she agreed to go on the date is because. So to give a little bit of context, the one IKEA on the island of Montreal is kind of located in a bit of a weird spot. There's not great public transportation that you can take to get to it easily. And so I do genuinely wonder, did she agree to this date just because it was a way for her to easily get to IKEA, do some shopping, like return her goods without having to spend like an additional 3 hours taking a bus to get there? Was this all just a matter of convenience?
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
To be honest
Yeah.
with you, bud.
The one good thing, here's the one thing good thing that came out of the date. While I was there, I learned that the IKEAs in Montreal are currently doing a promotion where if you sign up for an IKEA account on their website, you can go to their cafeteria and get one of their like signature dishes half off. So you can get like IKEA meatballs and fries for like $4 instead of like $10. And it's great because it's like most of the time, the way that most of these subscription services work is it's like you sign up for free, and then if you forget that you're subscribed, then they start charging you after like a week or so. Here, it's like, no, you don't even have to pay anything or sign up for anything like that. You just sign up and you get food half off. And so I took advantage of that and went back about a week later to have some half off meatballs. But that's all the good that
Right.
came of it.
I was kind of hoping, Chad, I don't know if you feel the same, that like they got down in the IKEA. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
No.
They're like, oh, let's test out this, this Jorgen Munster bed frame.
Jorgen Munster.
I don't know what any of them are actually called except for the Billy Bookshelf because that's the one that all the nerds put all their like transform this into a shelf for your video games.
They so that is actually so in Japan, they got these things called love hotels, which are hotels that you go into to you get the idea.
No,
And
who's explained it to me?
it's okay, you know how people do like the thing with their hand where they're like, this is a finger and this is like a hole, and they do the thing where the finger goes in and out of the hole.
What is it?
It's
Why
like
would you
that.
get a hotel to put your finger
Yeah, I can
in
do that
someone
on the
else's
street.
finger? That's you can do it anywhere.
It's like, okay, have you ever seen like an animation of like a bee impregnating a flower or like pollinating a flower, like
I say
going into the
impregnating a
flower?
flower? That is definitely not a thing a bee can do.
No.
Wow.
You need a special bee that can do that, and then it like flies out of the flower, just like covered in pollen. You know what I mean? Anyways,
It's sex.
Thank you, Chad.
SEX.
Thank you for just saying that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
They should. Anyways, what was I even talking about? Oh
Love
yeah, that's right.
hotel.
Love hotel. They should do an IKEA themed love hotel in Japan, where it is like, oh, there's no like you have individual rooms, but it's also kind of like an open like air environment where you can kind of just go into one of the many like showcases or rooms that you would normally have in an IKEA showroom and just fuck around in one of those. And like it's understood when you enter into the IKEA themed love hotel, it's understood like, hey, it's kind of a quasi open air environment. You might see some other people off in the corner getting it on, but you agree to it because you get to have the satisfaction of doing it in an IKEA / not IKEA.
Now, Chad, what do you think's a better idea for a fuck motel? Would it be IKEA or Costco?
Oh man.
I think IKEA because, to be honest, Costco I feel like is very large and open and dusty. Like when I think of like those large warehouse stores, it's like dusty, dirty. Like not dirty, but like
I mean, it's all concrete floors and
you run
shit,
your
right?
exactly, yeah, you run your hand along the shelf and like you're gonna walk away with a gray hand covered in dust and soot.
So
and, like, I don't want that on my wee wee.
You just made me realize like a key aspect to these fictional love hotels that we're currently workshopping on this podcast is we 100% need to have the food court incorporated into them. Most of these love hotels are not offering you food in that kind of manner, but you have to have like an imitation Costco food court in the love hotel, Costco hotel.
What's the name of this Costco and or IKEA love hotel?
Well, there's two separate ones. So we're not combining them into two. I want to be very clear about that. These have to be separate but equal.
The Costco one be cost/go because you come in and pay your cost and you go because you've came already.
Okay.
I'm trying to do a play on the come and go gas stations that no longer exist, but it's hard to workshop.
What if there's one where you pay to watch someone fuck your partner? And it's called, instead of Kirkland, it's Cucklands.
Wow.
Like that.
The IKEA one is just called Icom, spelt with a K.
You could do that. Kozi, I don't know. Because again, Chad, I told you this years ago that I do not see Kozi as a sexual being. To me, he's just a man that appears randomly on a podcast once in a while, and he's not a real person outside of that. Hearing about your dating life absolutely fucking intrigues me. Like, holy shit, it's probably the most interesting thing I've heard all day. And I need to hear more. You need to go on more dates. Like, stop. Even if it's just because you're being a taxi, just do it for the stories, I'm telling you. Next time, be like, yes. Hey, you gotta give up some ass. What are we doing? Just say it. Just see what happens. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. I will let you know, both of you know right now. I am trying as hard as I've ever tried this summer. And I'll leave it.
Why this summer?
Well, because mainly because it's a lot of free time afforded by the fact that I don't have a current official job. It may or may not also be the fact that I did turn 30 recently and might be feeling a little bit
hurry up,
existential
bud.
Thread.
Your eggs are gonna dry up real soon.
Dread. Oh no, my eggs.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah.
You got a biological clock, bud. It's ticking.
Interesting. Anyways.
That's crazy shit.
Chad, it's a shame that the like one Hail Mary that was supposed to save that fledgling relationship. Didn't work out.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to believe. Now, I will say, actually, you do raise an interesting point, Chad. When we went to the hot food counter, the person I was with did ask, "Hey, Madame Web was like, yo, do they have any hot dogs here?" And they were like, "You can only get hot dogs at like the hot food bar that's downstairs." The way my IKEA is set up is you have like the restaurant upstairs, and then downstairs you have like the hot food bar where you have like the hot dogs and the soft serve ice cream. And now I'm wondering, is the thing that ruined our date the fact that she didn't have any hot dogs?
Oh shit.
You should have said I've got one right here.
I was going to say,
hot
that's
dog. How about you meet
good
these
point.
balls?
Good point. Multiple hot dogs were not
Swedish
used
meet
effectively
these
that
balls.
day. Anyways,
Oh, check it. I'm just saying, okay, because I've been watching recently King of the Hill because it came back for a new season after 10 years or whatever. And Bobby, there are, again, I'm not 20, because like Bobby's like 21 or something in that show.
mhm.
And so I'm not a 21-year-old dating. So I was shocked. But like, how many girls just want to hook up? Bobby's just like, I think in the first 2 episodes, like 2 girls just want to hook up with Bobby. And I'm like, Kozi, you need to have that energy because you could just do it, apparently. Just do it in the IKEA.
I need
Maybe
to
not
look
in
up
the
what
IKEA.
Bobby Hill looks like
Or
as a
maybe.
21-year-old. Let's see.
He looks like Bobby Hill if he was taller. Just like
Yep.
Bobby Hill new season, yeah. I'm just
Oh,
saying, so
man.
just try it. Maybe it'll work, Kozi. I'm trying to help you find love or just fun, you know?
Mm.
Yeah, do what you got to do. Just clap some cheeks once in a while. He's a, Chad, do you have anything? Because I do have something if you don't, but.
No, go for it.
Okay. I wanted to ask, well, I have 2 things. One of them is not video game related, but it is electronic device related that you play video games on. So if
Okay.
you let me know if I'm allowed to do it or not. Yes, no?
It is
We're not-
permissible if that is the preferred option.
All right, Kozi. I'm just asking you a question because we're not talking about video games. We're talking
Mhm.
about a thing. Last time we did a RAFter Dark, I said that I owned a Wii U, and you freaked the fuck out and were like, "Oh my god!" But we can't talk about it here. But it's
Mhm.
also been over a month, and we still have never talked about it. So I just let's just get it out there and get it over with. I owned a Wii U. Why is that? What's going on with what was in your mind when I said that?
Well, the problem is I don't remember the entire context of the conversation that we had. I think I was just surprised because I feel like of anyone on this podcast, you're the person who's like most like not down with playing Nintendo related things. And so I think I was just kind of like, if you owned it's a double-edged sword because like on one hand, I understand playing the Wii U and being like, never again, this is going to spurn me from ever playing anything Nintendo again. But the flip side of that coin is if you get a Wii U, you're the kind of gamer that is willing to get anything. And so it surprises me that you wouldn't get better Nintendo consoles. But I understand that it's a two-sided coin.
Yeah, no, it just I think I talked to Chad early on in the podcast was that like, yes, I've owned basically every console from whenever I had enough money to until, you know, recent day. So I had a Wii U. I was one of the 9 people on the planet who owned one of those things. And
Ooh.
yeah, and then I also got the Switch, and then I sold my Switch and I never looked back. But I have owned basically every Nintendo console except for Switch 2, and then I didn't own a GameCube. I had friends who had GameCubes.
With the Switch, did you get much out of the console before you sold it? Or was it like, this isn't doing anything for me?
No, it's the same thing I had with the Wii U, where it was like there are like 4 games on here I really enjoy with friends, and then I
Mhm.
wouldn't touch it, and it would gain so like not exaggeration, it would gain so much dust, like it would be an actual film of dust on it because I hadn't touched it in so long, and I was like, why did I spend $300 for the opportunity to spend $60 one time a year and then play it for 10 hours? I'm like, this seems like a waste of a purchase. And then I got the Switch, and boy howdy, the same thing happened where I was like, "Oh boy, I bought this
Mm.
thing." Played a lot of Smash Ultimate, tons of them. We're not going to talk about the game itself, but it was a ton of fun. It ran its course. The pandemic happened. Had Animal Crossing. Played it for maybe 2 days, and I was like, "Oh, I don't want to do this." And then I looked ahead, and it was the end of 2020, and I was like, "I again haven't touched this thing except for maybe 2 or 3 times." And
Mm.
during the pandemic, you could sell your Switch for a lot of money. So I basically recouped all my losses. And I was like, bet I'll do that. Never looked back. The only game I played on my Switch was Smash Ultimate, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, and Animal Crossing, and then like maybe one or two other things. But I didn't fucking play it, dude. I'm just like, I'm not gonna keep spending money so I can spend a little bit more money once in a while. That's, I mean, just doesn't seem like a good consumer proposition.
I mean, what's funny about this whole scenario is the scenario that you're describing is like very similar to like what I went through with the Nintendo Switch for much of its early life cycle. There was a long stretch of years into the pandemic where I barely used the original Nintendo Switch myself. I was not playing a ton of games on it. It was only in 2023, partially because of us playing a bunch of barf games on the Respawning Fire podcast that were available on the Switch that really kind of got me back into the Switch myself. And so I can't really, like, to be totally honest, I don't really begrudge you for making some of the decisions that you did, especially being tactful about it and being like, yo, I can sell this for a lot of money during the pandemic. But yeah, I guess that's just how things roll.
It is. I have owned them all, but yeah, I was just like, it was just me with all electronics when I got older. You know, like my son's older and kids get more expensive. It was like, why am I spending
Well, of
$400
course.
to not use it, then maybe spend more money? Pointless. I won't do that. Let me pirate everything instead.
Ooh.
I'm just kidding. But then my other thing that I had, what is a thing that you like that is outside of your norm? So my idea for this would be like, Chad doesn't like sports, but for some reason he fucking loves watching WNBA or something. Like, my whole thing about this was that I don't watch a lot of TV very often. But recently in the last, I don't know, maybe month or two, I started watching The Traders on Peacock, which is a reality game show kind of a thing where I mean, it's Among Us, but with real people, basically. They have a
So
house or a
traders
castle.
like you have betrayed me, traders.
Yeah, like
not
you are a
traders
trader.
like
No,
for
not we're not. Yeah,
like
switching
trading
things for
places.
goods and no. So the idea of the game is they bring in like 20 people to a house or a castle or whatever, and then at the very first night, they're like, everyone put your blindfolds on, and the host picks a number of people to be the quote unquote trader, right? And then every night, the trader can kill another player and basically eliminate them. You know, in reality game show terms, they can eliminate someone. And then every night, they all come back to the table and have to try to vote who is a traitor and get them. Again, it's fucking Among Us, but if it was a reality TV show, basically. And there are 3 seasons of the American version, but then I watched the 3 seasons of the United Kingdom version, the 1 season of New Zealand, and the 2 season of the Australian version. And I fucking love the traders. It's so good. Chad, Alan Cumming is the host of the American version. The guy
I
who
saw him on the poster when I googled it just now. Yeah,
dude, it's such a good show, like, in which of random people playing the game, but I don't. It's so engaging, and it's so weird because I don't watch any TV and I watch no reality competition shows. Like I don't. You brought up Jeff Probst and Survivor. I haven't watched Survivor since like 1997. Like straight up, don't give a shit. But Traders, I am here for every bit of it. So for you guys, what's the thing you don't give a shit about except for like one thing? It's like that's what I'm all about.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that comes to mind.
Maybe be music or again movies or just anything that's like would not be you'd be like no one would think that you would like it because that's not your personality, but you actually love it. It's just again for me it was the one reality TV show that I like. I don't give a fuck about any of the other ones, but that one's
I'm going through my like YouTube search history to see if there's like any obvious videos that stick out as like, oh, that's not really a Cozy thing, and yet, alas, Cozy has been watching a lot of that.
I feel like music would be one. If you're like I normally don't like heavy metal, but I like this like one song or I like this one.
I will say, I don't really, I've not listened to a lot of his more recent albums, but I used to be really, I used to enjoy not watching, but listening to a lot of Seal music.
Okay. Yeah. That
Not
Batman song.
not the animal Seal that hangs out at docks, but Seal, the man who appeared on the soundtrack for Batman, not Batman and Robin, but Batman Forever, among other movie
Forever, that's what it
soundtracks.
was.
I actually, so it's funny. I have a friend who recently we were talking about like experiences in our lives. We've all had this sort of moment where like I think I'm pretty sure what happened that sparked the conversation is she shared with me a meme of like basically a guy being like one night in like 1999 I played like Diablo 2 on repeat for 4 hours while listening to some like heavy metal album, and that like seared into my brain. The sheer amount of dopamines going into my brain, seared that into my brain, is like the ultimate gamer moment for me. And now every single other gamer moment that I have, I measure in fractions of the sheer amount of dopamines that I experienced on that one night in 1999. And so we were talking about like what are some like crazy gamer dopamine moments that we experienced early on that were formative for us, and now that we use as a point of comparison for other gamer moments that we have. And the one example that I brought up, and this is nonsense, but it was I was playing through The Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass in my father's Subaru Outback while listening to
The same
the
one he still has now.
we in fact do still have it. Still runs okay. It'll probably break down soon. We while listening to the 2009 Seal album System. Most of Seal's early albums were self-titled albums, but that one from 2009 was titled System. So yeah, that's a moment for you. Probably not something you would expect.
That's crazy. This Kozi being obsessed with one Seal album. That is,
Yeah. And
definitely
I
interesting.
I want to say for the record, enjoy a lot of his music. Still have a lot of respect for Seal's various works. Have honestly not listened to a new Seal song in like quite some time, but I respect his works.
I'm trying to
Kiss
remember
from a
who he's
Rose,
married
excellent.
to. Oh, he was married to Heidi Klum
I was
for
going to say
10
he was
years.
married, but they divorced not too long ago.
4 kids, though.
Divorked.
Yeah, they divorced.
You know, Chad, what about you? Anything weird?
I think this is probably a new one. I used to be very like I'm not into generally social media, and like I've deleted basically all of my social media accounts now except for a Blue Sky that still exists, but I haven't opened the app in like 2 months, and I have a one X account that literally is just only following Wario64, and that's it. And so like I'm not that kind of person anymore, and I was always very much against watching YouTube like as an entertainment thing. Like for me, YouTube was always the all right, if I need to know how to do something, I'm going to YouTube to search for something specific that I need to know or to research something or something like that. And if the video is longer than 3 minutes, then I don't watch it. Like that was a rule that I had. But I'm fucking obsessed with watching. There are, there are. I'm looking. Cozy brought up looking through your YouTube history to see like what are the things. And holy shit, I'm obsessed with 2 things. One of them is home decor YouTube videos that are all like 25 minutes each, and there's like so much overlap in all of them, but I fucking love looking at ugly people's home shit. Not ugly people's ugly home shit.
Oh, so
Like
it's like weird, like, oh, I bought this at a circus in 1973 and it's a chair
it's
now.
just
Is that what we're talking
it's
about?
yeah, and just fucking nasty ass like chairs that look like they're wearing skirts with frilly shit, and I love watching people just tear that shit apart. And then also on YouTube, there's a second thing that I'm just like apparently obsessed with, and it's just 45-minute long woodworking videos of just
See,
watching
Mm.
yeah,
guys build cabinets and go through and talk through the whole process.
I knew
And
you had
like
one of those, man. That's
it's
like
it,
what's one of the McElroy brothers? He's like really into woodworking, and they're like, "You're a nerd, dude. You're literally like started, a video game website." He's like, "I really want to. I care about woodworking a lot, guys." They're like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
it's fascinating shit to watch. And it's just like I've gone from watching maybe 20 minutes of YouTube a month a couple years ago to now probably dozens of hours a month of YouTube just for the like anytime that I eat lunch now, I'm like, well, I want to turn on something in the background while I'm eating. It's always like, all right, let's go find a YouTube video of somebody fucking ripping apart somebody's shower. It's wild.
So they just make fun of other people's houses. Is that what we're
Most of the time,
talking
it's
about?
making fun of it. Sometimes it's
Okay.
like, all right, let's talk about trends that I really think are like interesting and look good. But a lot of times, it's just like, who fucking hurt you? Why did you choose this? Oh my god, we were watching one. My parents were in town this weekend helping me put my new house together a little bit, and we were watching one that was all about like roasting ugly, stupid trends by generation. Like, what are the stupid things Gen Z is about with physical media? What are the stupid things millennials are about? And one of them came down to art, and it was like Gen Z fucking loves using records as art. And it's like putting records on the wall and like you all don't do you even listen to those things? Like it's stupid. And then they like got to Gen X and they were like, oh, it's fucking CD towers and media bookshelves, and you just have like giant weird looking DVD racks. And then they got to boomers. And this is my parents are both kind of straddling Gen X and boomer. And the guy didn't say like paintings of old cottages. He specifically said Thomas Kincaid paintings everywhere. And it's like, you got one on the mantle, you got one on the wall. And my mom, he fucking nailed it. That was my mom. It still is my mom. And she was just like, holy shit. He just called me out. And my dad is like, yeah, we've got 2 Thomas Kincaids hanging in the office right now in our chiropractic office. And it's just watching people make fun of shitty design trends that
I
people
mean,
do.
when you said Thomas Kincaid, I was like, oh yeah, it's either my mom or my grandmother has Thomas Kincaid paintings, 100%,
Yeah.
because I know the name. Holy shit, that's fucking crazy.
Yep.
Give me one moment because I just want to look up the Wikipedia page for this real quick.
For Thomas Kincaid?
Okay. No, not for that. So, okay, so I want to preface this by saying I don't know if this necessarily, if Adam, you would consider this necessarily a worthy response to this topic in particular, but there was a period of time in my life where I was, and I would say to a degree still remain very fond of the movie from 1986, Milo and Otis.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
that's good shit.
Yeah. Now, I mean,
You know
I
how many puppies
recognize.
they killed filming that movie?
So that's the
They had,
thing.
they had to make laws around that now because of that movie.
Here's the thing: Milo and Otis, a children's movie. Of course, as a kid, I would be obsessed with a movie like this. This was, to give some context, this is a movie that my grandparents had, and it was like, it definitely was not the only VHS that they had. They definitely had other VHS tapes, but whenever I went over to their home, for whatever reason, I always gravitated to this one VHS tape, and I watched this movie, like, I'm not kidding you, like probably hundreds of times cumulatively over the course of visiting their house many, many, many,
I'm
many,
watching the
many
trailer, and the
times.
first thing that happens is a cat falls out of a tree and like is freaking the fuck out as it falls into a hole.
So
No, I watched it a ton at my grandma's too, or maybe I own the VHS. I don't remember, but yeah.
yeah, we're getting away from the topic at hand, but I just want to talk about this movie a little bit. So for those who are not familiar with the adventures of Milo and Otis, it's actually a Japanese movie. In Japan, it was called Koneko Monogatari, which translates to a kitten's story. And basically, it's about an orange tabby cat called Milo and a pug called Otis, who basically go on a bunch of adventures on an island in the Japanese countryside. The English version of the movie was entirely narrated by Dudley Moore, who like literally did all the voices. It's not like, oh, a female voice dubbed over Milo and a male voice dubbed over Otis. Like Dudley Moore literally is like providing all the voices. And then the cat said, oh yes, let's jump up there. And then the dog said, yeah, we'll go around there. It's weird. Anyways, the movie is like a very serene kids movie with, I think, a very decent soundtrack about these two animals going on an adventure in the wilderness and eventually making their way back home to the farm that they, originated from. But yeah, the whole thing with this movie, as Chad alluded to earlier, is that this movie infamously like killed a shit ton of animals over the course of its filming. There's a section on its Wikipedia page called Animal Welfare Allegations. I'll just read a quick passage here. When the film was released, some animal welfare organizations alleged to have had a number of complaints from people who had seen the film and were concerned that it could not be made without cruelty. The film was reported to have the approval of the American Humane Society, but they attempted to investigate rumors through contacts in Europe who normally would have information on movies throughout the world. Okay, interesting. So, interesting. Okay, so the animal welfare allegations, at least on the Wikipedia page for this movie, is a little bit of a nothing burger. But like, I have heard the allegations online that apparently like hundreds of animals, like hundreds of cats, got like thrown off cliffs and died in the filming of this movie. And it's one of those things
That's
where
what
like
I heard too. Yeah.
I have not watched this movie in many years, and it's like I am scared to death about going back and rewatching this movie because I feel like I won't be able to see it without being able to unsee the allegations that people have against it.
Yeah, I don't know if hundreds of animals were killed, but
That's
I
a little
would not
stretch.
be
That's a little
shocked if a
stretch.
couple were actually very injured. When you look at I'm on the IMDb for this thing, you know how they have the tags for like what kind of movie it is. Animal adventure, just adventure, drama, family, and survival. Survival is the tag for this movie. The first review is a documentary of animal abuse. That's the
Oh
first
no.
review on IMDb that shows up. Yeah, it's a crazy ass movie. I guess Homeward Bound, all those movies where it's like we're going on an adventure with actual real life animals and we dub them over with Rosie O'Donnell's voice or whatever. Those I get. You got to wonder what kind of things were in place to. I mean, if it's a Japanese movie from the 80s, probably give a shit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That guy right there, he could have been thrown off a cliff, Chad, just to be in a movie.
I know, right?
You never
This
know.
little beautiful pup.
There are scenes in that movie where like giant real life like owls like descend down and like carry entire live animals in the air to eat them. Like there's a lot that happens in that movie. There's a
I was
scene
just
where a
watching the
crab
trailer again, and it's like there's a cat like swatting at a baby bird's mouth, and the pug chasing a lizard, and the yeah.
There is definitely a scene in the movie where like a crab like pinches like a dog's nose for like
He
a solid
jumps
5
straight
minutes.
off a pier into a water. That shit is wild. I'm
Oh,
glad that that's
man.
the thing that you're into that that's not normal for you because it's animal abuse
Now-
and snuff films.
Here's what I'm curious about. Is there a version of Milo and Otis online that's like the original Japanese version with subtitles? Because everyone talks about how, subtitled anime is much better than dubbed anime. And I'm curious if the same is true for Milo and Otis. Like, if I watch it in the original Japanese, will I be more understanding and compassionate of the severe animal rights abuses that are depicted on screen in this movie? Will I be like, oh, that makes more sense in the original Japanese, actually?
I'm sure it's been erased from history the minute they were like, oh, people figured out that we tortured these animals. This movie does not exist anymore. Nah, but who knows?
I also feel like a lot of the argument about dubbed versus subbed is like the subbed version, you get to hear the actual actors expressing the emotion with the real words, and it's like you don't get to hear the dog talk like the dog originally talked or the cat talk. It's just like some other guy saying it in another language.
Talking about what the animals did. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. You find that and look for us, Kozi.
I'll look into it.
Is there another weird thing that I'm into? Talking about YouTube, just because I went through that. I don't watch any YouTube at all, except once in a while, I will watch videos that are like, so it's people playing video games, right? But it's like people playing like through like a franchise or a season. So like one of them be like, "Oh, I'm rebuilding this college in college football or whatever." And it's just like a story of like a man like trying to rebuild this college football team, but there's like real life stuff in between. It's not just like a dude playing the video game. There is that, but then it's also like, "Oh, this guy, John Williams, he's from Waco, Texas, and I knew his dad growing up." And it's like, what the fuck is this weird shit? It's actually really, really good.
Is that like
So-
the extreme role playing thing where
Yeah,
people
they're like
are,
role playing,
yeah.
but just playing football at the same time. And there's also guys that do it with wrestling, and that one's actually really good because it's just them doing what wrestling is. It's just storytelling and then like fighting, punching men. So that shit's actually really good.
So I made a discovery about Milo and Otis. The American version of the movie that was dubbed over by Dudley Moore has a runtime of 1 hour, 16 minutes. The original Japanese version of the movie, 92 minutes, which runs out to 1 hour and 32 minutes, which means that there are 16 minutes of footage that was cut out of this movie for
Of just
American
dogs in a
audiences.
meat grinder just falling into it for 16 minutes.
Guys, we got to get to the bottom of this. I'm gonna see if this Japanese cut
Is that
exists.
gonna be
We
our
need to
next
find out.
watch-along movie commentary? It's the Japanese Dead dog version.
God damn it. Maybe. It's not very video game themed. We usually do video game themed movies for those. They should do.
That's our as you told us a few weeks ago. That's our highest watched, our most viewed YouTube video is the Monster Hunter commentary.
That's true, actually. Speaking of which, I'm on RottenTomatoes.com right now. War of the Worlds, 3%. People did not like this one.
Oh yeah, the new one with Ice Cube or Ice T. It was Ice Cube. Yeah, apparently that thing is bad.
Yeah, Ice Cube. Apparently, so here's the thing though. This movie, 1 hour, 29 minutes long. I like with a runtime that low, I am actually not half disinterested in watching this movie. Just to see how bad it actually is.
I don't know whether I was listening to today's episode talking about tomorrow or listening to yesterday's episode talking about today, but I think the Kind of Funny game stream either today or tomorrow is going to be Nick Scarpino watching, like it's a watch along of that Ice Cube War of the Worlds movie.
Oh man, I should see where that thing is streaming.
Is that yeah? I guess that's what is that on? Because I didn't see any. I've never seen any advertisements for it, any trailers.
Let's see.
That is an Amazon Prime original.
Oh,
Amazon Prime original.
Amazon Prime.
If you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime.
Oh man, I'll look into that, and I'll look into the Japanese version of Milo Notice as well. I'll get to the bottom of this.
Can you? That's the thing. Can you stream Milo and Otis anywhere?
I'm sure you can. I'm sure. Hold on. Where
that might be on like Disney Plus when they have the disclaimer at the beginning.
Stream Milo and Otis. Let's see. Amazon Prime Video, Apple TV, Google Play Store, YouTube. So yeah, you can get it on the usual suspects.
My here it says Netflix. Oh no, not available in your country. Never mind.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was gonna say it can be a little different depending on what country you're in.
Speaking of this, I know we've already talked about movies before. We're talking about these weird movies and War of the Worlds and all that shit. What is the worst movie that you think you've ever watched in general, or maybe actually paid and went to a movie theater to watch? That actually might be more interesting.
Man.
Because could you imagine paying to watch? Again, I haven't watched War of the World, so I'm not going to talk too much shit. Could you imagine paying and sitting in a movie theater and spending all that money on popcorn and watch that fucking piece of shit allegedly movie? Haven't seen.
Real quick. So this is not answer the specific question you asked, because this was not a movie that I myself watched in a theater. I did watch it later on, and it might still actually, in fact, be my answer. But in what year was this? In 2016. I got a phone call from my dad, and he was like, "We want to see a new movie. It's a cat.
Let's go sit on that guy's couch again."
A 2016 cat movie. Do either of you want to take a guess?
I guess what movie it's a Garfield, but I don't know which one.
No, not a Garfield. It's not an IP movie.
A cat movie in 2016, huh?
Stars.
So a live action remake of the Aristocats.
Heavily canceled American actor.
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey in 9 Lives.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Kevin Spacey gets body swapped with a cat, and as a cat, he has to recover his failing relationship with his family. I did not see that movie in the theater, but my dad was like, "Yo, we should go and see this movie together as a family." And I was like, you know what? I think I'll pass. And so the missus, and Amelia all went to go and see that movie together. And apparently he liked it. And good for him, because I am glad that I did not waste any money watching that on the silver screen.
Speaking of 9 Lives and then, Milo and Otis, I think I didn't hate it, but I definitely saw Cats and Dogs 1 and 2 in the movie theater.
Oh, those are good
my
movies.
God, Cats and Dogs.
I remember
my sister got
those
for her birthday on VHS or something like that. We didn't see those in theater, but whew.
Cats and Dogs 1. I did not watch that movie as often as I watched Milo and Otis, but it was definitely up there. I definitely ran that VHS tape pretty dry. That was what I liked about that movie is it was predominantly cats and dogs, but then they have a bit at the end where you learn that the cats have enslaved mice to make them some doomsday device in exchange for 3 pounds of cheese, and all the mice who can't comprehend that that's not a lot of cheese are like, hell yeah. That was a good movie. I like
My
that
God,
movie a lot.
guys, there's a Cats and Dogs 3 Paws Unite. It
Oh
was released
no.
in 2020.
I have a movie,
Good
and
movie.
I want to see. Until I saw Madam Web, this was the movie that I had held was like the worst movie I've ever seen.
Wait, real
And I
quick, did you watch
remember
Man Web in the theater?
I did, yes,
Ooh, rough.
yes. This movie that I'm about to have you all guess what it is. I remember going out to eat after seeing the movie with my friend and just like, how the fuck did they con all of these people into making this awful, terrible, completely unfunny movie? I'm gonna just start reading the cast of this movie and see
Oh
if you all
boy.
can guess what this is.
Oh boy.
Dennis Quaid, Greg Kinnear, Hugh Jackman.
Movie 43.
Movie 43 is correct, yeah. Kate
Mm.
Winslet, Jeremy Allen White, Chris Pratt, Anna Faris, J.B. Smoove, Kieran Culkin, Emma Stone, Richard Gere, Justin Long, Jason Sudeikis, Uma Thurman, Kristen Bell,
It's wild. And you watched that in
Leslie
the movie
Bibb.
theater?
Yeah, I watched this in the movie theater, and it was fucking awful.
That's crazy.
I didn't laugh at all. And
Have
yeah,
you
that
ever?
was
Did you want to walk out?
2013 movie.
People
43.
always
I
talk
did.
about you. I've never.
No, I
walked out of a
wanted to walk
movie.
out. I never walked
Okay.
out. I have walked out of one movie, but it was because my friend wanted to walk out of it. The only movie I've ever walked out of was Battlefield or Battleship.
Oh, shit, with Rihanna?
Yeah, Battleship. Yeah, we watched maybe 20 minutes of it, and he was just like, "Let's get out of here. I don't want to. I don't want to sit here anymore."
So I don't think that this movie is bad, but I did walk out of it because the person I was with wanted to walk out of it. I'm gonna Google while you talk, Cozy, because I got to remember what the name of the movie was.
Not a problem. In fact, I already have my next movie queued up. So, in addition to like you guys, I've definitely watched movies because it was covered on Kind of Funny's in review series, and like, well, I might as well watch this shitty Marvel movie because they're doing an episode about it, and it would be good to have context about the movie they're talking about. I've watched a lot of bad movies for in review, but I also listen to a podcast that I've definitely referenced it on the show in the past. It's called Blank Check. The whole premise of Blank Check is it's basically the two hosts of it are like, we're going to go through and we're going to watch every single movie in this director's filmography. Most other podcasts are like, all right, we're going to do a series on Steven Spielberg. So we'll just cover the hits. We'll cover, you know, uh, Jurassic Park. We'll cover Schindler's List. We'll cover E.T. We'll cover, you know, what have you. We'll only cover a few movies. Blank Check is like, no, we're going to cover every single movie in this director's filmography. And so eventually they did a series on Tim Burton. And they got, because they're doing every movie in that director's filmography, to the 2010 Alice in Wonderland live action Disney movie. What's interesting about this movie is like, this movie is kind of the first example of like the live action Disney remakes that we're now just so sick of. But like at the time, nobody really kind of thought of it as that. Like I said, I've watched a lot of like shitty Marvel movies, a lot of shitty movies for like in review and whatnot. But like Alice in Wonderland, the 2010 Tim Burton directed live action remake, might legitimately be like at the top of my list of like the worst movies I've ever seen. Like this movie, it's one of those movies where watching it, I'm like, there is no script. Like there's no through line holding any of these scenes together in this movie. It's just a collection of like CGI nonsense goop and like one of the worst depictions of the Mad Hatter ever committed to screen. That movie sucks.
That's
That's
crazy.
all I have to say.
I've seen it. I didn't. Oh, that was fine. Whatever. I remember it was a big deal because it was like the push into 3D and like that movie looks really cool. And that first movie actually made a shit ton of money.
Oh yeah. It made a ton of money. And
like,
to your point, one of the things that really propelled that movie was the fact that it was like one of the first early examples of a 3D movie outside of James Cameron's Avatar. And it came out like literally like within a couple of months after Avatar. And so it was still coasting off of the excitement and success of that movie. And so it definitely really benefited from that as a result.
Do you remember around that same time, maybe it was even that same year, there was that Jim Carrey Christmas Carol CGI movie.
The CGI
that
one?
was
Yeah,
also, they were pushing the 3D hard on that one too.
I think I found out what it was. Oh, go ahead, Kobe.
Sorry, real quick. Chad, you referenced the, what was it? The What was it? The Christmas movie that you were referencing?
A Christmas Carol.
A
The Jim
Christmas Carol,
Carrey
right?
3D version.
Okay, so real quick, not a very long story because I actually didn't entirely dislike that movie, but that year I like would do a lot of like productions with like my high school like play theater group. We did A Christmas Carol. That was like the like yearly like winter play that we did. And for our like little like yay, we did the play party afterwards, we went and saw this movie as a group. And I thought it was very okay.
What part did you play?
I so like this was my first year part of the theater troupe. I played the I think his official name is like the Poulterer's Man. It's literally the smallest part you can imagine. I came in towards the end holding a turkey, and I basically had a couple lines about how it's like after Scrooge is reformed, after he's visited by the three ghosts, and he's like, I'm gonna help out my partner, and I'm gonna, bring joy and happiness and money into his life. And he's like, I'm gonna get him a big old turkey so that we can celebrate Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner, whatever dinner together, all as a family.
You know
And
what's
I
really
was the
funny
guy that
is
got the turkey.
as a joke, I was thinking in my brain was like, what's the stereotypical like, oh, the kid in the elementary school play who like we're gonna cast him as a tree. And so it was like, what's the Christmas Carol version of the tree? And I was like, oh, I wonder if you got cast as the turkey. It was like not quite the turkey, but the guy holding the turkey.
Turkey
Ooh.
adjacent.
Yeah.
So the movie that I'm thinking of, I just did all the research on it. Apparently, it's reviewed pretty well. It didn't make any money at all, and the reason that we left because I was with somebody else, and they were like, "I don't want to watch this. This is boring." It's also the thing where Braylon, relax. Good lord, the thing where I know that kind of funny. Nick Scarfino makes a joke about Joey because she bought a super small movie ticket or like a movie ticket for a very small
The
screen.
tiny screen, yeah.
So this was the only time I've ever been to this movie theater, and it was one of the. It was the one in the very corner. It was like the movies they show 2 times a day, and it was a very small screen. I think that was part of the reason that this person wanted to leave. But the movie is called A Mighty Heart. For some reason, I thought it was called Lionheart, but it's not. A Mighty Heart, which is an Angelina Jolie movie, and it's like based on a memoir of like someone whose husband gets kidnapped in like Pakistan and the government's trying to get. I don't know what it is. It's a Cannes film like it's one
Is
an
this
art house movie, but it's Angelina Jolie
is
is
this
like the main.
whitewashing? Because like, is she playing a Latino woman?
I don't think so. No, I think it's like her husband gets kidnapped and he was like a reporter like in Pakistan or I don't know
Okay.
what it was. It's some sort of war movie where they're overseas and again, I was only there for 15 minutes. The screen was super small. The person I was with was super bored. They were not expecting it to be this like weird political, drama about this person's interpersonal feelings with it. And they were like, I'm out. And I'm like, you know what? I'm 16. I don't give a shit either. Let's go. That's the only movie I've ever left. Otherwise, I'll sit there. I've sat through every Pirates of the Caribbean movie. I sat through Captain Dog 1 and 2. I sat through I don't leave movie theaters. If I'm spending money, I'm staying. I don't care if it's bad or not, except for A Mighty Heart, which, by all accounts is
A
a good
Mighty
reviewed
Heart.
movie. But they were not interested. And I was like, I was 16. I don't give a fuck. I'm just here.
Oh my god, the Blu-ray of this on Amazon, not HD like 4K Blu-ray, the regular HD Blu-ray, $75.
Holy shit. That's rough.
Or you can buy the HD DVD. Remember that?
For
The HD DVD
$800.
for $2.99. $2.99.
$2.99.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know what
The
the movie's
regular
about.
DVD $6.71.
I don't feel like actually reading through, but something to do with kidnapping and a fucking, I don't fucking, who gives a shit? That's the only one. That's it. Otherwise, I love movies. Don't care how bad they are.
Yeah, I've never walked out of a movie theater mid-movie. My parents, they said that they walked out of what was it, Natural Born Killers. Apparently they were so repulsed by the violence of that movie that they
Too
couldn't
much
take it
sex
anymore.
and violence. I know people were like, I can't watch, back in the day, like Aliens was too much. We have to leave. And it's like, all right. I mean, you went to see a horror movie. What you think was going to happen?
Oh, speaking of aliens, Alien Earth out right now. Just came out while we were recording this.
Gonna watch that tonight,
Ooh.
baby. Except for when they do eye stuff, I got to turn away for that. Everything else I can watch. Very good. I think that's
Well,
an
we've
hour,
hit
though.
about an hour. Yeah, that's a good little stopping point. Great little recap of the episode. We talked about IKEA date out of convenience. We talked about what are your things that you do that people wouldn't expect you to do, and then worst movies you've ever seen. It's a good little podcast there. Well, thanks everyone. Again, if you're a patron and you're listening to this early, we'll call this on time. If you're listening to this on time, thanks so much for your patronage. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you supporting us. Look forward to a Patreon barf poll coming out sometime soon for whatever we're gonna play the next month. And if you're a person listening to this late, well, I guess you tried. It's not enough though.
Hey.
Whatever you did, it's not enough.
It's okay though. You'll do better next time. We all
It's
have
okay. If
days
you
where
believe
we
in
don't.
reincarnation, you get a second chance.
That's
But you're
true.
gonna
You
die
might have to
knowing
wait a
it's not
couple
enough.
decades, but your time, your moment in the
Yeah.
sun will come eventually.
Yep. All right, everyone.
Yep.
Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time on Rafter Dark. Woo.
Oh,
Spooky.
zebra.
You can't
Zebra.